Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ryuu Kishi, and this is my review for Hades 2, the sequel to the absolutely outstanding Hades 1, which I got all achievements for. Don't believe me? Well, here. How does this game compare to its predecessor? Well, I'll get into that with the review. There won't be important spoilers here, and I'll try to avoid talking about characters and the like that a first-time player going in won't already know. Instead of Zagreus, we get his sister, Melinoy, a female protagonist who is vastly different from Zag in both a good and bad way. Design-wise, she's amazing. She has some of the best face portraits in the game, in my opinion, and is incredible. From a character standpoint, she's your typical soldier-like who has, since birth, been raised to do this one thing, and mostly this one thing. She does have more depth to her, though, but I'm not smart enough to articulate that. Now, the main difference between her and her brother is gameplay. While Zack has a blood orb he can shoot out and lodge into an enemy, or lob it if it's the festive fog, which you get from Dionysus, Melinoy has a small AoE circle that doesn't do a whole lot. You get bonuses later after you unlock them if you do use your cast, and like before, your cast ability can do something else depending on which god you go for. Aphrodite cast is my favorite cast ability. It's incredibly broken. Another difference between the two is that Melinoy has a charge attack for both primary and secondary skills, at the cost of a new resource, magic. Magic will fill back to full after clearing a location and exiting through a door, among other ways, but I'm not going to talk about the gain abilities. One huge improvement Melinoy has over her brother is immediately to dash and continually dash instead of only dashing twice. At least I believe this is the case. However, Melanie comes with a major flaw in my eyes, and that's that she has less health than her brother. 20 less health at the start, and 30 less when your health arcana is maxed out. Zack started with 50, and when he's fully upgraded, he has 100. Whereas Melanoy, she starts with 30, she ends on 70. What is your arcana, you may ask? Well, it's this god-awful fucking thing that acts as your mirror of Twilight, and I fucking hate the system. It sucks! By leveling up your grasp, you can activate more Arcana cards, especially those with a high cost. There are some cards with zero cost, but they can only be activated if the requirements are met, and some of these are just downright awful. Now, why do I hate the Arcana system? It's precisely because the cards have a cost, and you can only have a limit of max 30 points that I despise it. To add to that, the zero cost cards are absolutely limiting, yet provide amazing buffs that you simply can't play without. I miss the mirror where it's as simple as, oh, I have enough darkness, let me upgrade this. My next major complaint has to do with the weapons. Melinoy has access to a staff, dual daggers, magic sticks, an axe, a skull, and a weapon that's more sci-fi than fantasy, and a majority of them, and by extension their different aspects, suck in comparison to Hades 1. The staff is your starting weapon, and one of its major downsides is one of its Omega moves. It fires in two directions from Melinoy, but as soon as it's fully charged, it releases. So chances are the enemy, or enemies, moved away by the time it fired. You also have a tiny ball that gets shot out that could be nice for terrain kills. The dual daggers I feel like is the only one with a good aspect that's not the default one, and that's the aspect of Artemis, which is what I'm using in this run. The daggers are fast-hitting weapons that don't do much damage, which is the norm for fast weapons. The main drawback for these is, yet again, the Omega Special, which is just not even good. The magic sticks, as I'm calling them, is one of my least favorite weapons, as its main drawback has everything to do with how the weapon is designed. You can't spam just basic, you actively do charge attacks as basic, use 5 magic per, and can move backwards. Don't get me wrong, Aspect of Morris with Zeus and Hestia both is dummy fun. But you won't be surviving long with this, unless if you are somehow a god and time your moves just right. Next is the skulls, which is my absolute least favorite weapon in this game. I understand that the aspect of Medea is heralded as the best / one of the best aspects in the game, but I really don't enjoy how the skull works. It's slow, clunky, you leave yourself open to be attacked. Not a fan. I guess I should explain, huh? Well, much like the railgun on Hades 1, the skull has ammunition that you can fire at your opponent, leaving it behind the shell, meaning you have to pick it up. This already doesn't sound good. Combined with the limited shots you get, which by default is 4, yes, Aspect of Melinoy does increase ammo count, but the rest don't, the weapon just is not good for me. I mixed on the black coat. On the one hand, it's a neat weapon to use and fun to get going, but on the other hand, its Omega Basic is slow, and firing off the missiles can be a tad annoying at times. My only other main issue with it is how out of place it feels. I guess you could make up an excuse and say that Hephaestus made it and it runs on magic power. I don't know the actual lore here. And now, lastly, Let's talk about my favorite weapon, and the weapon that I use religiously, mainly because Melanoy has such low health in comparison to her brother. The X is slow, but hits hard, and it has two major drawbacks. The final shot from basic, and the charged Omega not having iframes, / it feels useless to use at times, outside of the one hammer ability. However, the X felt fine to use for me, and I wasn't all that bothered by how slow it is. It feels like the perfect balance of being a slow and hard-hitting weapon, without actually being actively slow. My main tip for this class is to basic twice and then either special or dash away, which should reset the combo for basic. No more unneeded final chop. I always ran with the default aspect because again, more health, more good. If you somehow felt that the weapon was too slow, then the aspect of Thanatos may help you come around to the axe, even though the axe turns into a scythe. To further add to the difference between the siblings, Melanai has familiars she can encounter and choose from to aid her in her quest. All of their abilities vary, and the common theme around them is providing more chances of a specific resource type to spawn if you are in need of them. Much like in Hades 1, Hades 2 has a pact system after you've beaten the main boss at least once, and this is another problem I have with the game. Not the pact itself, but what the pact gives you. See, the pact has a bounty system where if you kill a certain boss with a certain weapon, you get a cursed nightmare. This nightmare item is used to upgrade your other aspects, similar to how Zack had to use Titan's Blood. However, unlike in Hades 1, this is your main means of obtaining this item. No trading resources, no fighting the first and last boss at least once. Nope. Do the bounty, or get screwed, and it gets worse. In Hades 1, all you had to do was spend at least a total of 5 Titan's Blood to unlock a hidden aspect. This could be from unlocking a weapon to upgrading an aspect as long as it wasn't Zag, I believe. No, in Hades 2, you have to fully upgrade an aspect of the weapon to the max, and it can't be of Melanoi. As of typing this, I have not yet unlocked a hidden aspect, but that's primarily because, upon looking them up, they don't seem worth it to work towards. Unlike in Hades 1, well, at least Arthur and Gilgamesh anyway, but you also had to start with the spear first. That, and I don't want to have to beat up bosses with weapons I don't like. There's sadly no build that can work on any weapon without having to overly rely on said weapon. I miss Festa Fog. Going to go over this one quick. Like in Hades 1, you have trinkets that can make or break a run for you. You have your typical god ones that grant you immediate access to a god in the first room. Every other trinket can just be ignored until you get to the final area, where you will want the tooth or something that increases your damage. Some of these trinkets are bad too, but that's just a trait shared in Hades 1. At least you don't have to fully level them up for an achievement like in Hades 1. Now, for the positives. The art design is on point as always, minus a few designs I'm not too fond of for the characters. The characters are great, except Eric's. Fuck that bitch. Interacting with them is fun and rewarding, and their stories are neat from the little I've done of them, because I've yet to unlock their damn quest despite them being maxed hearts. Sound design and music is good as well. For a minor spoiler, because I need to, I do rather enjoy the surface. It's another major location you have to get through as a side thing, and it's quite fun. At least the first area is. Once you step into the second area, the surface gets less fun the more you climb it. I hate the second area boss. I like one of the moves of the third area, but you can and will get unlucky, and the fourth area is a test of endurance and patience. I won't say any more than that in case you haven't seen anything yet. Despite this game's many flaws, at least for me, this game is still a solid 8 out of 10. It's not perfect, far from it, but I still had fun playing the game and getting used to the new systems. Fuck the Arcana cards though. So with that, I think I'll call things here. If you'd like to see more Hades 2 content, do feel free to let me know, and I'll see what I can do. I would like to instead stream this game on Twitch, because I feel like that would be the best use of my time with Hades 2. So with that, happy Ryuu Kishi, and I'll see you next time. One final note to mention, the story isn't as good as it was in Hades 1. Hades 2's story is just okay. And with how it's being a roguelike, the excuse they give for the ability to continue playing the game is not as good or as engaging as it is in Hades 1, which is rather unfortunate.